Kitty Pryde Wolverine was a 6-issue miniseries written by Chris Claremont and illustrated by Al Milgrom. Today I'd like to look at the 5th book, published in March 1985, specifically on page 5, and these 3 panels where Kitty Pryde phases out of a skyscraper in Tokyo, down through the pavement and into the subway. I'm Kruger Bear, host of Too Many Movies, and this is my one excellent scene. Kitty Pryde has not been well served by the movies. She was little more than a background artist in the first 2 X-Men movies. She was the lead in the book of Days of Future Past, but was replaced by Wolverine in the movie. So for those of you unfamiliar with her powers, Kitty Pryde has an ability called phasing, wherein she can pass her atoms through solid objects. To prevent herself falling through the ground, she can interact with the air molecules beneath her feet. This also gives her the ability to levitate by literally walking on air. Most of my friends favoured Wolverine, but for me, Kitty Pryde was always my favourite X-person.
Go f*** yourself.
She was 13 when she joined the X-Men, a couple of years older than me at the time I started reading the books. Like all kids, I grew up on stories of good versus evil, but the X-Men introduced me to a more nuanced version of the world, where the lines are more blurred and easily crossed, where evil deeds can come from noble intentions, and no one is irredeemable. Kitty was my audience surrogate as we learned to navigate the adult world concurrently. When we joined Kitty at the beginning of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, she was already in a funk. Her parents recently divorced and dumped by her boyfriend Colossus. Then her father Carmen is forcibly taken to Japan by some shady businessman she rightly suspects of being Yakuza. Stowing aboard a plane with only $4 and 2.5 sticks of gum to her name, she tracks her father down in Tokyo and learns that he is a money launderer. After being pursued by the Yakuza and the police, drenched, feverish and heartbroken, she is taken by Ogun, one of the Yakuza henchmen who just happens to be an immortal demon ninja. In storytelling there is a beat called the mirror moment. It's usually at the midpoint in a story, and it is when the protagonist has to face their demons. In this case, Kitty, mentally and physically at her lowest, has to face a literal demon. Using forbidden magic, Ogun mentally breaks her down to the level of a child, so he can rebuild her with his consciousness in place of her own. This is illustrated in the book by Kitty literally falling down, her clothes stripped away, de-aging until she is a baby again. Her agency destroyed, she is raised again by Ogun as her new parent, moulding her in his image. As a test of loyalty to Ogun, Kitty is forced to fight Wolverine, who has followed her to Japan. Kitty is knocked out in the fight, and Wolverine takes her to a mountain retreat to recover, literally and figuratively lifting her up again. Wolverine wants to break her conditioning, but he can't do it for her. If Kitty wants her agency back, she has to take it. It can't be gifted or forced upon her. This is Kitty's true mirror moment, the point where she can admit to herself not what she wants, but what she needs. It is apt that she comes to this moment in the tub, when she is literally stripped away again. With the luxury and responsibility of choice, she goes on the offensive. Before facing Ogun, she goes after the Yakuza at the headquarters of their business front in the guise of a ninja. She exits the skyscraper by airwalking into the night sky, and it is here that she drops down into the subway. And this is where we come to our one excellent scene. This time she controls her fall. As she does so, she phases out of her ninja costume, shedding the clothes forced upon her by Ogun, even leaving them in the overhang of a building and in the pavement where they can never be recovered. When she lands in the underground, this time on her feet, she is in her new outfit, one of her choosing. It is here she decides to adopt the superhero moniker Shadowcat, symbolising that she is no longer the baby Kitty and ready to take her place in the adult world. In a book that uses a lot of reincorporated images to symbolise change and growth, this was the most outstanding one for me. The dialogue tends to hold your hand through the themes of the book, but the imagery here, I think, adds an extra layer to the onion. Hopefully we'll see Shadowcat done justice in a movie one day, but if not, we'll always have the books. I've dropped a link to the book in the description if you want to check it out. Well, I think that's a wrap. I've been Kruger Bear, and that was my one excellent scene. I'm new to YouTube. I'm currently doing a pilot series on the Ju-on and the Grudge movies. I've got a new episode coming out this week. Like, comment and subscribe if you can be asked, and I'll see you soon.